Today we have a great fragrance for you guys. Hopefully, it's I believe from the house of Malul, London. Think it's a collab as well. Strap up. We're gonna go for a ride, and this one should be a goodie. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I'm your host for the afternoon. Okay, so I think this is a collab between Michael Malul, Gent Scents, or Michael Malul and Gent Scents, and this fragrance is Terra Nova, provided by Kix Griffey. Shoutouts to Kix for throwing me an insane amount of samples amongst the pile I've already had. It's getting tough to work through all these, but I'm glad that I have them, and I'm grateful for guys like Kix for sending me fragrances because he's diversifying what I'm putting my nose to in my current journey, and I'm more than happy to share my experience with the fragrances he's sent me so that you guys can discover new fragrances you might not have heard of. So again, I think this is a collaboration. Let me see if there's a little write-up here. Terra Nova by Michael Malul, London is a fragrance for men. This is a new fragrance. Terra Nova was launched in 2022, and there's a person who designed this fragrance by the name of Hamid Kashani. So maybe that perfumer made the fragrance and then labeled it under Michael Malul and Gent Scents, and they called it Terra Nova. So I hope I'm identifying everything correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm just rolling with what I see on Fragrantica. Let's get in initial thoughts. I know nothing about the perfumer, the collab, what seems to be a collab. We're just going to go after it. Hope you guys are doing well out there. For those of you who are new to the channel, I am basically just documenting my fragrance journey, giving you guys all the tips, tricks, and discoveries that I have with the fragrances I've come across. And we do everything here. We drop episodes every single day, ranging from clone dupe inspired, clone dupe inspiration, designer, and niche, and everything in between. And my goal is I want to find fragrances that fit me and fit the lifestyle that I have and the places that I go to and the things I experience to enhance my journey as a human being on this earth. And hopefully you guys can relate if you're into the whole fragcom space. And I am talking too much, so let's get to this initial impressions because I know nothing about this fragrance or the house or the perfumer, etc. Okay, so in the air, it seems to be a decently projecting fragrance. I get this massive burst of amber and citrus. I liken it very similar to like L'Immensité from LV. This very zingy, ambery citrus. That's what I mostly get. It might have some facets of like greenness and warm spicy, but not so much. Like, again, the opening feels very close to L'Immensité for me personally. I want to spray it some more because after the initial projection, it seems to kind of dissipate quite quickly. I'm almost leaning on putting this on skin if I feel the need in a bit. But yeah, slight spice, slight green, but mostly just this kind of zingy, zesty citrus and amber. Doesn't seem to break down to anything else as far as complexity is concerned. So I feel comfortable just switching screen and showing you guys the pyramid. There goes that bergamot citrus up top, lemon leaf and lotus in the mid, ambroxan and sandalwood and violet, and in the base, black amber, patchouli. There goes that amber, patchouli, and tonka bean. Okay, lemon leaf, lotus, violet. Sure, I get not those notes individually, but I just get this sort of floral, tart, slight sweet, slight powdery as far as density. Not super powdery, just the tiniest bit of like this handling of like a 70% bergamot amber fragrance. Maybe only 30% is kind of this medley of mostly floral green. I don't get much patchouli or tonka bean or sandalwood even. Guys, this really feels like L'Immensité, but like maybe a little bit fresher, a little bit less dense. Not much to be said there. Let's look at this bottle real quick. So it looks like it's like presented by Michael Malul and Gent Sense. That's the name that goes on this fragrance. However, they didn't make it. Maybe they curated it. I'm not quite sure. Terra Nova, interesting, but a 2022 release nonetheless. Let's look at the price on this bad boy. So full bottle, $125. Travel spray, $26. I'm curious though if we can find it anywhere else for cheaper. $140, $126. Okay. Yeah, so it must just be curated by those two. Or is Michael Malul Gent Sense? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Gent Sense the banner name and Michael Malul is the guy, Gent Sense actual name? I'm not too sure, and I don't really care. Is this fragrance good or not? Yeah, it's good. It's light, it's fresh, it's airy. You can't really go wrong with amber and citrus. Again, this is very reminiscent of L'Immensité, even the L'Immensité clones. So in that regard, I mean, I think I have, let me check this Jean Lowe fragrance I have real quick. This fragrance right here. So I've smelled actual L'Immensité before. I don't have a bottle of it. I've only decanted it. But this fragrance right here, Jean Lowe's Immortelle, which I believe is a L'Immensité clone, smells just like it. In fact, I'm going to load up the other side of this test strip just to see the closeness in the opening and dry down. Isn't this crazy? You know, I got this for like 15, 20 bucks, 120 ml of juice. Pretty spot on, close to L'Immensité. It's definitely good enough. Again, I don't really, and this is probably blasphemous to some people, maybe Charm City or something like that. But a lot of the LV DNAs, I think you can obtain the same elegance, the same quality, the same dimension, the same performance with fragrances like anything from, what is that fragrance called? Not Ladisi. Oh man, what is that fragrance house? Issey Miyake. Yeah, the perfumer for those fragrances is the same as the one who did a lot of the LV fragrances. So I feel like either through Issey Miyake or even some of these clones, you can really get most of the different LV batches. You know, Pacific Chill, L'Immensité, Imagination, Afternoon Swim. A lot of those are pretty easy DNAs to clone. Now, some people might argue about the complexity and the density, but I think that those facets to the fragrance are really not stuff you experience as much out in the air as a bystander, as much as you do in your own vicinity as a wearer. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like you can kind of cut some corners, because the general opening out in the air feels very citrus, aquatic, and things like that. Yeah, the L'Immensité is really nice. The L'Immensité clone, Immortelle, actually feels stronger as a projector, but they're both light and airy and fresh, and they're close enough. Man, this Terra Nova almost feels like a Yaman Lale rendering of L'Immensité, but it's a good fragrance. Mostly amber and citrus, 70% with a 30% cut of different freshness facets with florals. Again, I don't really get the sandalwood or the, let's see, or the patchouli or the tonka bean. It's not a very sweet fragrance. It's more tart and zingy. On the sweet scale, it's maybe like a 3 or a 4. Any season, any reason. I think it's mostly a warm weather scent though. But I think you can make a case for any season, any reason. Looking at the performance here, it's not very long lasting. So you'd probably be, you know, challenged to get like 4 hours at best. Load up the sprays. I think this is a 10+ spray fragrance. Occasions, I think it's upscale casual at best, you know, running errands, pool party, going to school, beach vibes, you know, Cali weather type stuff, sunshine fragrance. But you're going to have to load up the sprays. If you're indoors, you can probably get away with like 6 to 8. But I think if you're outdoors, you need to start thinking about like 10 to 15 sprays. No question. Just due to all facets of the fragrance, the projection, the longevity. There's probably not much sillage to speak of. It seems like in the air, it really tends to kind of like break down. It does maintain its amberiness and its bergamot, but all the other facets of it seem to really dissipate quickly with air. Do I think it's worth it? No, I would get the alternatives, even something like Issey Miyake type fragrance. But if you want something exactly up the alley, I think the Lemensité, I think actually Yaman Lail does make a Lemensité for like 40 bucks. You can get like a 50 ml or something. But even this Jean Low Immortelle, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the fragrance, it's a good fragrance. It's just a little bit simple for me in my journey. This totally fits the bill for being very, very close competitor to this Terra Nova. So I can't quite justify the price point, because if I'm going to spend a lot of money, I want complex juice, or I want something, even if it's in its simplicity, something to be so unique and captivating. I don't typically like to spend a lot of money just for higher quality ingredients if the DNA is very simple or not very inspiring or one of one to me. I don't know. That's just my take though. Is it unisex? It says for men, but I think it's unisex, to be honest. Women can rock amber and citrus, absolutely. Occasions, again, casual, upscale casual, outdoors, even indoors if you just kind of want like a light, playful. It's not the most gentlemanly scent. It's more of like upscale. I don't want to say classy playful. It's more of like an upscale playful at best. Let me know what you guys think about this fragrance. Have you tried it? Again, I think I would prefer some alternatives over this just due to the price point, and the performance on the Terra Nova just seems like lackluster to me, even in my wearing experience right now. But it is a good smelling fragrance. If you're into that, you know, you won't miss out buying the bottle. But again, I just think you can capture this DNA with fragrances under the $40 price point. Again, my Jean Low, I probably paid 15, 20 bucks. And this is pretty spot on for 120 ml of juice. So can't really beat that, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. More importantly, turn on that notification bell. We drop episodes every single day. I'm interested. If you guys want to correct me at all on the naming and the branding, or if it's a collab, or if Michael Malul is the name of Gent Sense or whatever, you guys can put it in the comments below. But other than that, this fragrance for me overall is a 7, average. Not a lot of uniqueness. It has great alternatives, weak performance, but a good scent, solid scent. So for that, I give it a 7. With that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed rest of your week. This is Terra Nova, Terra Nova by Michael Malul London, aka Gent Sense, I think. And yeah, that was my review. Have a blessed week. Peace.